Hello everyone, it's Charlton. Please subscribe to my channel, tap the notification bell, I'd appreciate it majorly. And so Lisa Snyder was arrested this morning and charged with the murder of her two young kids, 8 and 4 years old, Connor and Brinley Snyder. And that's Brinley there. She was only 4 years old. Connor was 8 years old. And the incident actually took to happen a month and a half ago. September 23rd is when this actually took place, where they were found hanging in their basement, the two kids, and it's been under investigation ever since. I don't recall seeing this story when this incident first happened. It seems like a lot of people have been following the story. In fact, this is a private group that, the Connor and Brinley Snyder homicide case discussion group, basically discussing whether it's homicide or suicide, because, the mother had claimed that it was suicide, that she found the two kids hanging in the basement, I think around 4:30 p.m. is when she called 911. But she's been charged with first and I believe third-degree murder and another charge too. I'll get to that in a second. So, but I never saw, and I follow a lot of news, but I didn't see anything on this until now. But she's after a month and a half of investigation. They have charged her with first and third-degree murder, and Snyder has been charged with 2 counts of first and third degree murder. I don't exactly know the difference between, first degree murder is basically, murder at its premeditated worst. But third degree, I'm not sure what that is. Endangering the welfare of a child and animal cruelty, including intercourse with an animal, which obviously it's all just horrific. So, that's Lisa Snyder right there, and she's actually pictured being arrested right there at her home today. And I think there's another picture of her in this article, at her home, just going to her car before she was arrested. That was, this has been going on for a month and a half. So initially, I believe around 4:30 p.m. It is 4:30 p.m. September 23rd. The police were called. A 911 call was placed by her. And the police discovered 2 kids in the basement, hanging from a dog leash from the main beam of the home, and both children were hanging from the same leash, like a wire cable that has like a plastic coating over the top of it. I believe a fairly long one, and one that was basically wrapped around the main beam, probably, spaced out between a couple of joists or a few joists, because the kids were basically about 3 feet apart, but attached to the exact same leash, and at each end was one child. It's just horrendous. And then they, beneath them was two dining room chairs that had come from the upstairs. Investigators basically found, realized that. So, and that's where the investigation began. And they actually were alive when they were found. They were basically undergoing massive cardiac arrest. I believe they were helivaced out of there, taken to the hospital. And but 3 days later, they were taken off of life support, and they couldn't live without remaining on life support. It says here they were pronounced dead 14 minutes later. It's terrible, absolutely horrible. Medics from Kempton Fire Company found the children, who were then flown to the hospital. The victims were in full cardiac arrest before being revived en route to the hospital. They were admitted to the pediatric intensive care unit on full life support, but they died 3 days later. The children were found hanging from opposite ends of a plastic-coated dog lead that had been wrapped around the main support beam of the basement ceiling, according to an affidavit in support of a search warrant. Each end of the lead was wrapped around the victim's neck, the affidavit says. And basically, the mother, there's another teen son, I think a 17-year-old son who, lives in the home. The mother had claimed that the the 8-year-old boy, had been was been badly bullied at school or something like that, and that he was suicidal. But upon investigating, talking with the other 17-year-old son that lives there, as well as other schoolmates that went with school with the 8-year-old Connor, the investigators determined that he had no reports or no indication of suicidal tendencies or any kind of bullying or any of it. So, they have arrested the mother today on, like I said, on first and third degree murder and the other charges. It's just absolutely horrific, man. It's just terrible. That's them pictured. That's that same picture, but a little bit. So. Authorities in Berks County have arrested a woman after her 2 children were found hanging in their home this past September. Authorities announced charges against Lisa Snyder, 36, in the deaths of Connor Snyder and Brinley Snyder during a press conference Monday afternoon. Snyder has been charged with 2 counts of first and third degree murder, endangering the welfare of children, and animal cruelty, including intercourse with an animal. This was a horrific, tragic incident, District Attorney John Adams said during the press conference. Police say both children were found hanging in the basement of their Albany Township home back on September 23rd. After Lisa Snyder called 911, Snyder was taken into custody at her home Monday morning and was arraigned in Hamburg. State police had been investigating the children's death as criminal homicides. According to the records, the young victims were hanging approximately 3 feet apart from a single wired cable with plastic coating. Investigators revealed the vinyl dog lead that was purchased that morning was wrapped around the main support beam in the basement, and 2 dining room chairs were knocked over next to the victims. Authorities say Snyder claimed her son Connor was bullied and was suicidal. Snyder's teen son, who lived in the house, as well as the other witnesses, refuted the claim that Connor was bullied and said he never mentioned being suicidal, according to investigators. Additionally, officers say they spoke to numerous school officials, family members, and classmates and found no evidence of bullying. Several electronics had been removed from the home during the initial investigation. Officials are searching for more evidence, including a cell phone, but say they are pleased with where the investigation is at currently. The children had been removed from Snyder's care in 2014 before they were returned early 2015. Children Protective Services had been involved with the family until November 2015. As a result of the first-degree murder charges, Snyder is not eligible for bail. It's just terrible, obviously. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. It's pretty much the whole story there, man. Thanks for watching my videos. Please subscribe to my channel. Give me a like down below. And I'll see you in the next video. Later, man.